So this is a Knight K10 that's just came into stock. Didn't really see them in this colour that often. It's like a teak finish. So I bought this on Marketplace. The guy was selling it. First things that kind of stand out to me, well, this is broke. It's supposed to flip up like that, and the felt's missing on the top. Overall it's okay. Outside there's a little bit of marking at the bottom there. And yeah, so the first thing we've got to do is just take it apart and see what we've got lurking inside. So that's inside the piano, all taken apart. So they're not too hard to take apart, the panels come off quite easily, but it just gives you a better look inside. What I've noticed on here is there is a bit of wear on the hammers. Probably can't see it on there actually. So you can see the grooves on the front of the hammers. So we'll reface them. We'll just improve the tone really. For some reason, I think someone's pushed this forward. As you can see, the ones around it, fine. You get to that one, it's just blocking on the strings. So I'll just quickly fix that. Nothing really that stands out as being majorly wrong. There's not much lost motion, and the jacks are going under there nicely. Underneath looks fine apart from a few cobwebs and a spider, a dead one fortunately. I don't like spiders. The rest looks okay. The back does need a bit of a clean as well. Regulation, so the hammer should get quite close to the string, so I could improve that and get a bit closer, so it should go to probably about there before it trips back. I don't know if you've seen that. It should go to about there before it goes back, but it's not at the minute. But that's not a huge job. Keys, if you look down the side of the keys, I've got this mark here as well, which I think is just a bit of paint, which I can get off. They should be quite level. There's a little bit of a dip sort of near the middle, but that's what you expect because that's where it's been played the most, so the felts are more compressed in that area. But other than that, it's not too bad. I'll have to replace this as well, so it's just crumbling. And you can hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. It's like a rattling noise. It's just the metal on metal, so I'll have to change that. But yeah, it's not too bad. So that's everything taken out of the piano. As you can see, over the years a lot of dust gets underneath there, so that just all gets cleaned out. That's the next job, to clean the keys and then blast out the action with some compressed air. Actually first I'm going to reface those hammers and then do the compressed air afterwards. So the next job is to reface these hammers. So refacing, it just requires a file, and the goal is to get those grooves out by filing them, but you also have to keep in mind that you have to keep the shape of the hammer as well. So if you look at the side of these hammers, they're like so you've got the tail of the hammer like that, and then your hammer sort of goes around like that, so that would be a hammer, so it's connected there. So the grooves on here like that, it flattens the end, so what you have to do is you have to file those grooves out, but also have to reshape the rest of the hammer so you've got that point there to hit the strings, so it should be hitting the strings on that point, not with a flat edge. So it's not just a case of filing the front, you also have to shape around the hammer as well to get that point back. This quite a few times, depending on how bad the grooves go. There's quite a lot of wear left on the base ones because you've got more felt, but at the top there's a lot less, so you can't reface these as much as you can with these. once you start getting to that core of the wood inside, you pretty much need a whole new set of hammers. But you can reface them a couple of times over its life, and to be honest, it takes quite a while to get grooves come into the hammers anyway. So this piano is probably 1970s. It's probably not been played a lot, to be honest, judging on the amount of grooves on there. That's a good indicator to see how much a piano has been played. If the grooves are really bad on the hammers, then you know it's been played quite a lot. Whereas in this case, for a 50-year-old piano, it's not been played much at all. So that's everything put back in the piano. So the hammers have been refaced, and I'm just going to check the regulation on it, because ideally I want to get to the hammers as close as possible to the string before they let off. I've done C, so this is what it should be like. It should get pretty close and then just drop back a little bit. So that's about right. What's also supposed to happen is the damper supposed to lift off when the hammer's about halfway, so that's fine. But yeah, I'm just going to firstly start off by leveling the keys, and then I'll do the let off distance after, which is adjusting how close they get to the strings before they come back. So that's the let off done. So the hammers are getting quite close to the string now before they come back. Ideally I need a bit more aftertouch, so I did check the distance of the hammers to the strings and they were a bit far away, so I've just lifted everything forward. I've just put these here for now, that just sandwiches in between there just to get the hammers forward, so I've got the right distance. But now what that does is it means there's a bit of play in the key. So when I press a key, let me do that, there we go. When I press a key, there should be hardly any wiggle room before the hammer moves. Now this is what's happening on the ones I've not done, so I just need to raise that up, because that's what we call lost motion, where the key's moving but nothing's happening straight away. So all I do with that is I take the key out. Let me try and get that right. So take the key out, so that's got the lost motion. Adjust the capstan, which is there, just raise it up a little bit. Put that back in there. You see there's only a tiny bit now, it's not going as much as this one. Still could be improved, just a tiny bit. Check if the jack still trips under the hammer, and that's about right. So they all need to be done like that, and then it gives me just about the right amount of aftertouch, and that's about it. So I've just got to do the rest. The regulation done now. I've levelled the keys, I've set the heights of the sharps, I've done the hammer blow distance, which is the distance between the hammer and strings, which is set to 47mm, which is on the edge of, that's the boundary. You don't really want it any further than that. And the hammers get really close to the strings now, just as you want it. I don't know if you can see that on the video. But yeah, and it's just got just enough aftertouch. I've got to sort the back checks out, because some of them are going a bit too close at the end, but yeah, that's not a big job to fix that. It's just the last part. And yeah, so then after that it will need tuning. It's not too bad, it is out. As you can hear, it just needs rounding off a little bit, but overall it's playing nice now. Can't wait to see it finished. So that's it all tuned, regulated. I'm just going to polish the brass parts and put it back together, and then it'll be ready for sale. So this is what it's sounding like at the minute. So that's the piano all put back together. All in all, it's probably took around 10 hours of work just to get it to that condition again, playing nice, sounding nice. As you saw, it was quite a bit off on the regulation. Tuning wasn't too bad actually. It was around where it should have been sitting at pitch. Yeah, so it's pretty much ready for sale now. I don't know about other shops, but I usually leave these on just to show where it was originally sold. It's just a bit of history. The customer could have that taken off if they want, but if I take it off now, then I can never put it back on. So it's yeah, I just leave them on there because some people like it. You can see the original price in here of what it would have been. I'm guessing this is from the 70s. Whether that's from the 70s or when it was sold second hand again, I don't know, but that's still quite a lot of money to be selling a piano back then. So yeah, I'm not sure what that's equivalent to nowadays, but that's a lot of money for a piano. So it just shows you that it was a good piano back in the day. And the only thing I've got to do still is that all that does is just hold the lid open as you play them. It should be a bit of felt on there and it should just spring up on its own. But other than that, it's complete, ready for sale.